Hey everybody, it's Sharmel. Welcome back to Locks Lux Lifestyle. Today I am here with another chit chat video and we are going to be discussing plastic surgery, BBLs, and body dysmorphia. So let's get right into this video.
As the sun shines on all of my glory, my flaws don't look so bad at all. What was I so afraid of?
So BBL and plastic surgery has been a hot topic for a minute now. It's so crazy to just see how things develop over time, I guess you could say. When BBL started getting a little buzz, I was already an adult. I was in college at the time, and this is in 2010, I would want to say, when Nicki Minaj was really popular, when Black China was really popular. I feel like that's when the BBL trend really started to get a lot of buzz. But it was still something that was exclusive to celebrities. It's not something the average Jane could have done. And then maybe around 2013, 2014, it started to trickle down a little bit. So you started to see a lot of influencers and online personalities pop up with BBLs, being more open about having a BBL or just plastic surgery in general, honestly. And then I feel like this next wave that's kind of taken place within the last 2 or 3 years, it's become very normalized for regular people. A lot of people are opting to have plastic surgery done, especially BBLs. They have really became popular over the last few years. Now, before we go any further into this video, I do want to make a statement saying that I am not anti-plastic surgery. I get it. I'm a woman. I understand the struggles. I grew up, and honestly still today as an adult, I have my struggles with my body and different insecurities as it relates to my body. So I definitely understand why people do it. But what I will say is that I am against how normalized plastic surgery has become, especially within the younger generation. So again, I'm not anti-plastic surgery. If that's something you choose to do, that's something you choose to do. However, I don't believe that young adults, 18, 19, 20, 21, honestly, should be making these decisions on altering their bodies, especially in extreme measures. And one of the reasons I'm really against it, I would say, especially for the younger generation, is because I feel like we're really not being honest about what's being done. At the end of the day, whether people want to acknowledge it or not, plastic surgery is just a treatment for the symptom, and it's not a treatment for the actual cause. And the cause and the reality is that a lot of people are out here struggling with body dysmorphia as well as dealing with a lot of unhealed trauma. I 100% stand on a lot of us are dealing with body dysmorphia. If you look up the definition of body dysmorphia, basically it's a mental illness, and you basically fixate yourself on a perceived or small flaw. Basically, you obsess over a perceived or a small flaw, and I feel like that's what it's really become nowadays when it comes to body image and everything. And like I said, I definitely understand, because we all want to feel beautiful. We all want to feel desired and valued in some aspect, but a lot of us are just not honest about that. One of the main things that irritate me when people get plastic surgery done is that they'll say,
"Oh, I'm doing this for me. I'm not trying to look like anybody else. This is just for me."
But then they'll go on the operating table and get up looking like everybody else. The fact that people are literally getting a carbon copy of the exact same body, the exact same face, it would be more believable if people were getting procedures or tweaks here and there to enhance what they already have. But people are literally getting the exact same version of what is considered, I guess, the ideal body type right now. And yes, this is very problematic because it shows you the lengths that people are willing to go through to feel included. It was recently stated that a BBL procedure is the most dangerous type of surgery that you can have, and young girls are literally hopping on planes, hopping on operating tables, and getting it just like that. So I posted a different video last summer actually on my second channel that I have been working on, and I never posted the video over here. So I always talk about me in my videos. I always use myself as just personal reference because I don't want my videos to come off as if I'm shaming people or, you know, I'm body shaming or anything like that, because that's definitely not the case. So a lot of times I will refer to myself and in my videos just because it's always easier to talk about my own experience rather than pointing the finger at other people. So in that video, you know, I talked about like my journey with my body and its insecurities, starting from as young as 8 all the way until adulthood now. One of the things that I don't like about my body is that my weight constantly fluctuates. And I remember being as young as 8 years old when my weight first started to fluctuate. So basically, I went to Florida for a summer and I came back home and I had blew up. I got really chubby. And I remember coming back home and people being kind of like taken aback about my appearance. And during that time, no one outwardly told me that I was fat or overweight. My doctor might have said it, but no one openly called me fat. No one outwardly told me that something was wrong with me. But even as a child, I was able to pick up on how people approached me or the language that they used when they were talking to me. And as a child, that made me very uncomfortable. And although no one outwardly told me that something was wrong with me, I can sense it by their interactions. And so that's something that I've honestly carried into adulthood. You know, as I've grown and developed and my weight has constantly fluctuated, you know, I've had periods of times where I've kind of like toyed with the idea of getting plastic surgery or getting work done to my body. As I've gotten older, I realized that if I would have had done that, that really wouldn't have fixed what I was feeling internally. That wouldn't have healed me. That wouldn't, it may have treated the symptoms. So yes, my body, you know, it's different. It looks new, but I feel like I would still be dealing with that internal insecurity. A lot of times we carry these childhood traumas along with us in our adulthood and we don't even realize it. Like I've had dating experiences where, you know, I was one size when I started talking to this guy, and within a year, you know, I may have gained weight because like I said, my weight fluctuates. And so I had to be like maybe 23, 24. I remember one specific time I was dating this guy and, you know, my weight started to trend up and I could see him start to withdraw. And, you know, it just kind of felt like he wasn't attracted to me anymore. And, you know, I was young. The relationship really wasn't meant to go anywhere. But I remember my insecurity building a lot within that situation. And I feel like I didn't know it at the time, but I was that 8-year-old girl who was very confused and kind of yearning to want to be accepted by this guy. And when you start to get to that level of yearning and wanting to be accepted, it allows you to be in a lot of situations that can become very toxic and that mean you no good. And so this is what I mean, that a lot of us are dealing with a lot of like unhealed trauma, especially when it comes to our body image and the way that we see ourselves. It wasn't necessarily that I didn't like my body at the time. People were indirectly telling me, which made me insecure. And so again, I'm not against plastic surgery. I'm not against having work done to make improvements. But if you're just getting the physical part taken care of and not dealing with the spiritual and the mental part of it, then you're doing yourself a disservice. Because if you are willing to go through extremes to change your body, to fit in, to be accepted, then the next wave that comes around, because I don't want to say that body types are a phase or a fad or a trend, because we all have our bodies. People can't change how they were born, what their body is built up of naturally, but you know, you do see the beauty standard constantly changing. And so if you're willing to go through such extremes to fit the beauty standard, the current beauty standard, you're going to always be in this cycle of constantly altering yourself to compete, honestly, or to be seen or to be desired. And that's exhausting within itself, you guys. I was on TikTok and it was like a TikTok of this like 19-year-old girl who was documenting her BBL journey. The comments were kind of split. It was definitely like not old women, but probably women my age, and then it was younger women, kind of like the older woman was saying like, oh wow, you're so young, like your body's still changing. And then there were a lot of younger girls who were like all on board for this surgery. And so I remember one comment in particular. The girl said she was 17 years old, and she was basically saying how she was planning to get a BBL after she turned 18, and how her body has pretty much been the same for the last 2 years. And I'm like, girl. And this is another reason why young women should not be getting these life-altering surgeries so young. Because if you're 17 and you think that your body is done changing, you are completely mistaken, okay? I look at pictures from when I was 17 and I thought I was good, and no, a lot didn't happen with this body over the last, how long ago was I 17? Over the last 13 years, okay? No, our bodies are meant to change. And I said this in my other video. As women, we need to get comfortable with the fact that our bodies are meant to change. Our bodies are designed to change. And it's just a part of life. People in general, you will not look the same at 80 as you were at 17. It's just not how life works. And not only our bodies, your mentality changes. The way that I thought at 17 is definitely not the way that I think as a 30-year-old. As women, we need to spend more time with ourselves, nurturing ourselves, learning ourselves before we take that leap to do it. I feel like a lot of people are using plastic surgery as a get around. I feel like we're in a time, and with this new generation, a lot of them are trying to skip over the process of becoming yourself. Now I understand, like I said, as far as my body built up, I'm not a super curvy woman. So I understand that no amount of exercise, no amount of squats, no amount of deadlifts, no amount of lunges will ever give me like that BBL booty, okay? However, in my personal experience, when you start taking care of your body just in general, it changes the overall way that you see it and the way that you think about it. When I started to work out, like obviously it didn't make me super curvy, but I started to come into my own body to where it's like, you know, I like the way that I look. I take care of myself. I put in the work. This is the body that God gave me. And you know what? I like it. And so when it comes to your body, it is a full-blown experience. Like, it is a full-blown process that you have to go through. First of all, exercising and eating better will have a positive effect on not only your body, but it will have a positive effect on your mental state. Like, when I eat good and when I'm exercising regularly, it's a good stress reliever. It takes off the edge of just like daily life. So that's why exercising and eating healthy is good for you in general, even if you're not trying to change your body, lose weight, or anything like that. However, not only do you need to invest in yourself physically, but you also need to invest in your mental and your spiritual state. Like I said, the way that I think as a 17-year-old is not the way that I think as a 30-year-old. And that's because, first of all, you naturally mature. And then in this maturing process, I made time to focus on my mental state. Again, dealing with the triggers and the trauma that made me feel insecure about my body in the first place. And then just getting to a new spiritual level to where I'm okay with how God created me and that He created me specifically. Everything about me was divinely designed. You'd have to get to a point of where you just invest in yourself overall. If you feel like the procedure or the plastic surgery is the nail in the coffin to complete your transformation, by all means have at it. But I do think people do themselves a disservice by not even putting in the actual physical work, the mental work, and the spiritual work before they decide to have a procedure done. So social media and stuff, it's all fun. Like, I enjoy it. I spend, a significant amount of time scrolling on different feeds. But it's also very important that you take time to disconnect. You have to remember that whatever you see on camera, whatever you see on your Instagram feed, it is not real life. It may be an extension of life, but it is not real life in its totality in the whole picture. This past year, like I said, my weight fluctuates. I'm on the up, okay? Between like the pandemic and quarantine and, I had a lot of other things take place in my life. I've been in the house eating. I have not been exercising. And I've been stress eating on top of just eating because I'm in the house. And I feel like as of lately, it's been really starting to take a toll on me. And I've been having to disconnect. I talked about it in like a recent chit chat get ready with me, and I'm learning how to live life in like actual time and to not focus so much on what is perceived on camera, what is perceived in pictures, and just enjoy it in real time. First of all, it's not healthy to be constantly flooded with different images that make you envious, that trigger your insecurity. That's not healthy at all. And then on top of that, you have to learn how to live life in real time, not a perceived version of life, not a curated version of life. Learn how to live life off camera in real time. So I think in general, after being in the house for like a year plus, we all have become like hyper aware of how we look because we've spent so much time just with ourselves. And then on top of that, when you add social media into the mix and you're constantly seeing images enhanced and they're promoted in a way that makes everything look more than what you are, it's going to take a toll on your mental state. It's going to take a toll on how you view yourself. So it's important that you just honestly disconnect from it for periods of time. I've always been a picture taker. I was always the friend when we go somewhere, I'm gonna take pictures. In general, like every time I feel cute and I put on a good outfit, let me take a picture. Every time I do my makeup, let me take a picture. And so yes, over the past year, I've definitely seen a decline in how often I take pictures and how often I post pictures. It got to the point where it's like, I would look in the mirror, I would feel cute, I would like the way that I looked, and then when I would try to take a picture, the picture didn't look how I looked in the mirror. And then because of that, I would feel like very insecure throughout the whole day. You can look beautiful, you can see yourself in the mirror and you really enjoy the way that you look, and then it's like if the picture isn't social media worthy, for lack of better terms, you'll start feeling insecure about it. And I don't like to feel like that. And so for that reason, like, I just stopped taking pictures as often as I do. Like, I still take pictures, but I don't need to take a picture for everything. As long as I look in the mirror and I feel good and I look good, then that's enough for me. I'm good with that. It's so sad that we're so used to viewing life through a filtered lens now that it's kind of hard for us to differentiate the real and the enhanced. And that's why I said that it's very important to disconnect and just learn how to live in real time without all of these unnecessary expectations to live up to.
Hey guys, jumping in with a quick voiceover because I thought about something else that I wanted to add as I was editing this video as it relates to social media. So I also wanted to mention that make sure if you are going to be on social media to diversify the type of people you follow. Following celebrities, following influencers, it's all fun. I enjoy scrolling through their pictures as well, but over the past years, I've made a conscious effort to make sure that I follow just the regular, schmegular people as well, because it kind of keeps you grounded, where it's like you're not constantly flooded with, like I said, images that don't reflect who you are. It's important to make sure that you are following and you are interacting with just regular people who reflect the type of person that you are. And it may not seem like that big of a deal, but it's just important that we consume content that reaffirms our beauty, and we're not only looking at content that's a complete opposite of who we are.
Surgery. I don't want to be one of those people that come on camera and just automatically shame people for the thought of even having work done, because I get it. I understand the pressure that society has placed upon us to fit into these different beauty standards, but I also want to make sure that if you do choose to go down that route, that you are doing the internal work as well, and that you're not using it as a band-aid. A lot of people view plastic surgery as a quick fix. A lot of people get work done and they don't even realize that sometimes it's a lifelong thing after that. If they haven't done the personal work, they're not happy with their results. So then it becomes this cycle of them constantly going back to get more and more things tweaked and fixed. Additionally, it's not that you get it one and done. First of all, there's the initial upkeep and maintenance that you have when it comes to healing from the procedure. And then within the next 5 to 10 years, you'll probably have to go in for another round to keep it sitting up and looking right. Cardi B recently posted something. I guess there was somebody was asking her about an album, and she was like, after she has this baby and she goes for another round of a BBL and lipo and all of this. And she said it so casually. And I'm like, why is that normal? Like, I'm all for mommy makeovers, okay? I don't have kids, but I definitely understand the toll that pregnancy takes on a woman's body. So I'm all for mommy makeovers. But if you feel like every time you have a kid, you have to go get a nip tuck, like that is toxic. That is not healthy. And it goes back to me saying, like, people haven't accepted that our bodies are meant to change and that things are going to happen. And they're looking for band-aids to put over these insecurities every time something new happens. Again, I'm not against plastic surgery, but I do think it's something that we should start taking more seriously and not just kind of normalizing it as, oh, it's just this, it's just a little this, it's just a little of that. And yes, overall, I just advocate for overall wellness, overall wholeness, overall happiness. And I just want to make sure that we're not dabbling in risky behavior for temporary fixes. But yeah, that is it for this video. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram, Snatched by Sharmel. And join the conversation down in the comment section. And I'll see you guys next video.